Good evening, YouTube. How are you? 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 How are you, YouTube? What a day. Anyway, happy Father's Day to any fathers out there. Um, I'm not really one who says happy Father's Day to women, like to single moms or whatever. I feel like we have Mother's Day, but that's just me. That's just my opinion. Let me pull a card from my botanical deck. I feel like I want something right now. Oh, I know what I want. Let's see, let me draw a card. Let me draw a card. So I like how Father's Day always falls on a Sunday. I love how Father's Day always falls on a Sunday. That's like, because that's traditionally like, Sunday means, is the, how do I put it? It's raw day. Sunday is actually like, represents masculine energy. Okay, so the quote for tonight: thankfulness for understanding. Before we can forgive one another, we have to understand one another. I talked about this in another live, and it is super true. The more you can understand people's circumstances, situations, the more you can let go of the past, the more you can forgive. Um, I'm obviously a person who has been targeted, and all of my videos and my content is talking about the targeted experience and giving solutions from A to Z. It's spiritual, it's practical, it's and everything in between. Just a ton of advice, a ton of understanding, so people can kind of understand what they're into, what they're going through, what they should be doing right now, what they should not be doing, how to spend your time. The intention and the goal is to evolve out of this place, not stick around here for longer than you have to. By the way, anybody coming into the live, please like the live. That helps the channel. Please like the live. Give me a second. I'm gonna go grab some water. Please like the live, guys. That helps the channel grow. I would appreciate it. Yeah, so as I was saying, I make a lot of content in regards to how to go along the targeted journey, and in regards to forgiving people because you understand them. I understand this thing a lot more than I originally did. The longer you stick around, the more you notice. The people doing this, I feel like a lot of times there are those who are simply bullied, trapped. The same thing that they do to TIs is what they do to them, and then they make them into gang stalkers. They make them into people who have to be trolls, who have to steal content online and regurgitate it, who have to give false messages. They turn people into that. And I can see that. I watch people now, like their content, and I'm like, this is someone who is being forced right now. This is someone who's being forced to do this. Sometimes it's people who have like a particular talent, like maybe they're tarot readers, maybe they're whatever, and it's like, oh my God, this is like a network. This is like a network of, I mean, obviously we all know that. You can see that it's organized and whatever, but it's easier to let it go with gang stalkers now because it's like, I can tell that a number of them are forced against their will. And, you know, if that's the case, it's like, it's not if that's the case, I can see that that's the case. Everybody in this thing is, not everybody, but a lot of people in this thing are trapped. Their life is trapped and they're stuck and they don't know how to get out. So that's what my content is about, is helping you get unstuck. That's why my channel is also constantly under, you know, under problems. They don't want to let the channel grow. I have been on here for 6 months making hour-long videos every single day, and I still only have 230 subscribers. Like, it's just ridiculous. But you know, it is what it is. Growing organically. I hope there, I know there is always constantly like playing on my channel, playing with our engagement and stuff like that. So anyway, I talk about things, I catch other people, other trolls, gang stalkers, whatever, on YouTube. I catch them stealing my videos, remaking my content. It's a bizarre world. Gang stalking is a bizarre world. Gang stalking is I think in the beginning it's a scary world, and I don't know for people who've been in for a while how it is for them, if they are just like, they're just used to it and they just kind of numb it out, like they're numb to it, or if it still is the same level every day. Like, I mean, for me personally, there's a lot of parts of it that I've come to just, I'm at peace with it. Like, I just don't think about it. I haven't thought about it in a while. There's parts of it that it still tries to like fight with me here and there, and some days it's not worth fighting those parts. Some days it's just like, I don't care, because I know how to do what I want to do whenever I need to do it. So I don't need to worry about like proving anything to anyone or any tit for tat with anyone. And I can tell that they are upset with me when I don't get upset, because that's the point. The point is to make you have a bad life experience and make you feel like a victim. But when you don't feel like a victim, they get upset. So, and they seem to be upset about everything. You pray with your kids, they're upset. How the heck is praying with my kids, you know, supposed to upset someone? It's not. But that's because they know why they're targeting you. And by you praying with your kids, bringing your kids to God, it's like, that means another plan has to fail. Because you're bringing the kids to God, you're putting the kids under God's coverage of protection. Everything is upsetting. If they want to disturb your peace because you're too at peace in your space and you avoid being disturbed, that becomes a problem. Everything is a problem. And my biggest thing is avoiding problems where I can, and always. I am constantly finding an easy solution. The easy solutions are the greatest ones. I'm constantly finding easy solutions and moving on. None of this back and forth fighting. Because we need peace. We need peace. I want to remind people that the way it works, both spiritually and in real life, when you are a targeted individual, as you have bad experiences, they have positive life experiences. As you lose, they gain. As you gain, they lose. I've discussed this before. It's like you're sitting on a seesaw with them. And if you can vibrate high and if you can get up, they fall down. If they get up, you fall down. So what do? They make you stay down. That is emotionally, financially, medically, in all ways, in all ways. So you have to be happy on purpose. I am happy on purpose. I'm at peace on purpose. I am, one of the things that I had to deal with was how to deal with the projection of rage. And it's another thing that I had to deal with, because when you're angry, you're pulling further from God, you're pulling further from prayer. It's like it's disturbing to your peace. So someone can't access you, but here you are at home upset. No, gotta get rid of that. And once I decided that that's something that I'm doing, that I'm pulling away from chaos, I'm blocking the doors to chaos. I don't want issues. They try to create issues with neighbors, with everybody. Guess what? If you're not there, an issue cannot be created. Don't talk to people. Don't be around people. Remove yourself. And I'm an expert at doing that. I have lived my entire life like that. There are people, you could look at them and they're itching to create a problem. So you remove yourself from everything. Leave people by themselves to figure it out. I don't stay close. I don't stay close. I don't want to know anything. I don't care what the rumors are. I don't say hi to anyone anymore. I don't look people in the eyes. I don't care. No involvement. To the point where when gang stalkers walk past you, you don't look at them. All you see is people's heads like on a swivel like this. Like they're walking past you and they're like the whole time like looking at you so hard, and you're seeing it in your peripheral and you're like, nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. I can't feel uncomfortable. I can't feel gang stalked if I didn't see it. Simple as that. Simple as that. There are sometimes it's like if it can't be avoided, then you need to go somewhere and it's on a schedule and someone knows it, then you ignore. If you're going to a workplace, don't deal with people if you don't have to. Close your door if you can afford it. Whatever it is that you can do to minimize human contact and therefore opportunity for conflict, that is what you got to do. I don't know if I am going to do the full message that I wanted to do today, but either way, let me move forward with it. I don't know about other people. Maybe because these are not conversations that have been had very often. Because I don't hear a lot of people talking about solutions, and I used to listen to like a lot of TI videos in the beginning. Not so much now. It was just going in a different direction than I was going in mentally. Mentally, I am going towards healing. I'm going towards calm, happiness. I'm learning how to do that step by step, obstacle by obstacle, challenge by challenge. Everything I overcome brings me closer to a place of inner peace with myself and with my environment. And so, because I don't watch a lot of TI videos anymore, I don't know what people are talking about. The few that I listen to, they genuinely sound like regurgitated stuff that people don't know what they're talking about. So I've had people who so-called have big platforms in this community in the early days, in the beginning, follow me and then like say something troll like and unfollow, and like just weird experiences I've had. And when I've asked people, people have said that they're chosen ones, and chosen ones this and chosen. But when I ask them what's a chosen one, they have told me flat out they don't know. And when I've asked, well, what are you chosen for? They've said verbatim, I don't know. I don't know if I really like the term chosen one. I don't know if I really like that. But I just know that some of us here, I can't speak for everybody. I don't know. I don't know. I can only speak for myself. I very much feel like part of my purpose is to be of aid in this community as far as like information, because people are doing this all wrong. They're doing this all wrong, and it's not even on purpose. It's just that they have so much misinformation out there, and they create so many illusions, and they take the illusions so far. Like, ever since I came on here and I said I like watching tarot, it's like I don't watch tarot anymore because they just started gang stalking the tarot readers. It's so sad. People come on here to listen to what I say, to plan their next attack. Like, it's very desperate. It's very, very, very desperate. It's very desperate. I can't even find another word. Another word came to mind, and I'm not, like, I just, what is, you start thinking to yourself, what is the need to keep people bound up like this, especially like, what is this about? Like, I can see in my situation why, because in my situation they force you to be they want to force you to be a drug mule, so they want you to be subdued and be under control. But it's like, it's other times it's like, I don't know. I talk a lot about, or I should actually know, let me even change that point. There's a pressure here to force people to perform. I don't know if I've been put in the hands of the YouTube gang stalkers now that people in my city can't access me, but it's like, what is like, what is going on here? Like, this is embarrassing. Like, I don't know. Like, a part of me is just like, let it go, guys. Like, this is looking really terrible. It's just, it's they make everything fake. It's not that things start off fake either. It's that they make it fake. Like, they take these people's platforms, they destabilize it, they kick them off of platforms, they they take away their sources of income, they do all of this, and then they force them, like, they make the platform fake. It's a fake platform, fake engagement, fake people in the comments, fake likes, fake everything, just so that these people will turn around and give TIs fake messages. They block the engagement of the good channels like my own, that actually give you like information to move on from this. Create fake views, fake everything, fake likes, like fake engagement, just to, like, I don't know. To me, I just feel like I'm always gonna be confused about this. There's just, I don't think there's ever a day, no matter how many times it's explained, that it makes sense to me to live like this. Like, to take over people's lives with the intention of making them create illusions around other people. I just want to mention right now, the tarot community is definitely under, certain readers, not all readers, certain readers are under attack right now. I would be careful. I would be discerning with what you listen to from readers, the readers you do listen to, and just cherry pick what you want to take for yourself. Stop listening to people altogether. Be careful when you listen to people. There are a lot of harm. There are a lot of things that can happen from listening to tarot. From listening to tarot, people can literally like send energy towards you from listening to readers. So just be careful. Just be careful. I mean, reading is an esoteric practice. It is an occult practice. So when one of the first red flags is if somebody reads and still talks about Jesus, that is a red flag. First of all, I think there are people who read that do believe in Jesus for sure. That is scary because they are only half awake. If they're saying things like that, they're only half awake. And that means that they're going to be easier to run over and to take over and to put in a position to give false readings. In situations where people are calling on Jesus or talking about Christianity as if it's their faith, and they're reading tarot cards and you don't think that they really mean that, or they're still saying esoteric things and they still know a lot about like the occult and stuff like that, then they're just lying and it's probably a fake page. Simple as that. They're just trying to draw in Christians, people who really do rely on the thought and idea of Jesus or Christianity to get them through this experience. These are the people that they want to lead astray, and they want to leave them like that. They want them to be thinking, in that way, and not expanding their consciousness, not expanding their mind, not embracing spirituality. They want to keep them there. They pursue people everywhere to perform like this. Like, I'm seeing people in Africa, I'm seeing people in India. So they're gang stalking people everywhere. They're doing the same nonsense everywhere. They're literally gang stalking people in Africa. Like, this is so crazy. Like, I can't even imagine what is going on in this world. This is really bad. I'm sure everybody knows or should know about like fake TIs and what that's about. Fake targeted individuals. They're not real. They just say whatever they want to say or whatever they have to say to convince you. Just be careful with the messages that you get. Use a lot of discernment. Use your intuition. Strengthen your intuition. When you get a gut feeling, your first instinct should not be to question it. Like, listen to your gut about everything and everyone. And like I said, when you're a TI, you can't trust anyone. You can't be dating right now. You can't be having friends. You can't be, doing too much. You got to take your time. I wouldn't even be going out at night. Like, you got to take your time with this process and untie yourself from this so you can walk away properly. So the issue here is always people's beliefs, your belief system. So I was even thinking to myself today, I was like, I used to think people who have the beliefs that I have were weird when I was younger. I met people when I was younger who had these same kind of beliefs, and it's like, as nice as I am, I couldn't even like be friends with them. It was just like, this is a lot. And because they always want to bring you into what they believe, you always feel like you're going into like some weird like little, I don't know, alternate reality with them. Like, but that's the thing. It took for me to do things my way, to go my route in life, to come back to the same conclusion, or not even the same conclusion, but to come back to the same place that I refused initially. Spirit had to get me to a point where they could get me to just believe. They could get me to walk far enough to open my mind to what the truth is. And if I could just believe, then they would do the rest. And they did. If I could just believe, if I could just be disciplined, if I could just begin a practice, then I could get to where I am today, in the direction that I'm going on right now, spiritually. With me just believing, opening my mind, I was led the entire way to solution after solution after solution of how to walk out of this. I was assisted in ways I probably still don't 100% understand. Um, and that is especially spiritually, especially not spiritually, but like on the, yes, spiritually, but what I'm really trying to say is on the side of the spell work. Spell work is not something that I practice, especially black magic. I don't practice any form of, like, people do candle magic, people do kitchen magic, like voodoo, none of the, but that's not for me. I talk to people and I say, I don't know that I necessarily recommend people doing that either. I don't believe in taking things into your own hands in the way that people do. I believe in putting up prayers and letting God decide what God wants to answer. And my prayers always have to do with, if it's your will, if this is in my best interest, if this makes sense for me, etc., etc. It always has to do with making sure that God feels that what I'm asking for is in my best interest. There have been a lot of times where prayers have not been answered in the affirmative. There have been a lot of times where I had to let things go. There have been a lot of times where the instruction that I've been given has not been one that I have liked. There have been a lot of times where the instruction is, most of the time, the instruction is something that's very difficult to endure, difficult to deal with, especially in that way. It takes a lot of discipline, takes a lot of self-control, takes a lot of strength to deal with it in the way that they're asking. But just having to trust 100% and to give them the situation to control, to let them handle the lion's share of this battle, because the lion's share is spiritual. The lion's share is me learning, not necessarily me doing, but me learning. I'm sharing all of this because I hope that with giving my insight on how I've navigated it, it kind of helps people figure out, like, maybe if they want to emulate any of the things that I've done. Waking up is one of the trickiest things that a person is going to go through. I feel like, and I'm at relief because everybody else who has woken up and they weren't initiated into some sort of group has just seemed to have gone through a nightmare to wake up. Their waking up process, yes, it involves no money, yes, it involves no human guidance, but like, it is rocky. It is crazy. It is nuts to be initiated that way and to wake up while coming immediately into opposition where there is round the clock spell work, where someone has literally been assigned to your life to destroy it, to stop you from waking up, stop you from opening your beliefs, opening up your mind, embracing new ideas, stepping into your power, your spiritual power. It is crazy. I think the middle part is the craziest. I'm at my plateau with it where, like, I just accept it is what it is. There's parts of it that trickle still. They do the best that they can, but I'm at peace with where things are. I'm grateful that I got to escape. I'm grateful for all the things that I have learned along this journey as well, but it is a tricky thing. And for anybody that feels like they're going through a spiritual awakening right now and very bizarre things are happening in your life, hang in there. Okay, it's not going to be like that forever. Somebody said that when I was at a crazy part of my journey. Somebody said, all you got to do is hang in there, and the blessing, one of the blessings out of coming out of this is that people will no longer try you. The way that they used to try you, you have to win this battle for people to no longer try you. People don't want to, they think twice before stepping up to you. And there's still going to be a couple, I think, but these are not going to be wars, all out wars like they were before. Like once you fully awaken, there's a way in which you behave and a way you walk around with a certain demeanor because you're so tired of nonsense that people know you won't hesitate, and people know that you're not the one. They don't want to do that. If you're not doing this correctly, you're going to do it for a very long time because they're going to keep playing games with you. You got to get it to the point where they got to think twice, because you cannot come here to suffer. You have bigger things to do. You have more things to do than just what you're doing right now, and you can't keep having people lay their hands on you spiritually all the time. So I say it all the time and I will repeat it. Please open your mind to solutions outside of the ones that we all already have and we all already know. Open your mind up to spirituality. Open your mind up to spiritual assistance. Open your mind up to prayers. Open your mind up to talk to your dead. I'm not saying go talk to the dead. I'm not saying go talk to demons. I'm not saying anything bad. Your ancestors, your people who are on the other side in the spirit realm that understand how it works, because you don't. Include them always in everything that you do so that they can be there to supervise things, to see things, to help you. This journey of spiritual help is not as kooky as you think. Like, it's just, they speak to you through your intuition. They speak to you through your gut instincts. They speak to you through you holding yourself back. Like, if you were gonna do something, they're like, no. If you were gonna go somewhere, you're about to do it and your mind says, yeah, I'm gonna turn back. That's them. That's all it is. You just gotta empower them to walk with you, to walk this journey with you, because everything that happens to you essentially happens to them. As your soul gets trapped, their future gets trapped, because we travel as souls in packs and we come back together all the time. Some of us stay on the other side, some of us are alive at the same time. And so we just keep coming back. We keep reincarnating. It's not like new people are coming all the time. So if you do things, you incur karma, you have debts to pay. As that happens with you, they have to pay the consequences of this. I've talked about this before. In my language, we call having bloodline karma, or what people would call bad luck, we call that malédiction. And because in my country we are afraid of malédiction, there's a lot of things we don't do. We live very well with people, because just by hurting certain people, you call it upon your life, and then it's like a bad luck that doesn't leave. It's like a dark energy just chases you throughout life. I'm not talking about you who's innocent, but people who hurt you. And I've seen this on people's life. Like, listen, I'm telling you, I've met people where if you walk too close to them, something happens. I kid you not. And I run from people like that, and I'm like, things like that you cannot clean. You cannot go to like a spiritual healer and clean it. Things like that need to go through God. Like, you have to give your life to God and you have to pay the karma for it. That's it. And if it's coming from people who were here before you, if it's coming from things people have done in your family, people they've robbed, they've steal, they've hurt, that is how people get malédiction. And we have this other thing that we say, where we basically say people who have malédiction, you're not supposed to be around them because you get it. You start suffering from it. We say it in our language, but it basically is, if someone is cursed and you come around them, you become cursed. If you have any dealings with them whatsoever, whether it's business, friendship, family, you have to estrange yourself from those people, isolate from those people. And it doesn't even go away right away. It takes a while of you praying, a while of you repenting, a while of you suffering the remnants of what you were around. You have to eliminate and isolate from these folks. These people that do these kind of things, that curse people, that speak harm on people's lives, these people are cursed. And it is what it is. When I see kids gang stalking, when people, I guess they have to have no choice because nobody sees this as a life for their children, and this must be painful. But when I see children doing this, I'm thinking they're so young for these people to be using all their good luck and their good karma to have them doing things like this. They're really calling curses in their life. Two things that I think you just really, really, really should not engage in is gang stalking with children present, meaning little children, your own children, using your children in any way to like lower people's defenses, letting children witness you gang stalking people, children of any age, children gang stalking others, having your kids. I think this is curses upon curses on a child's life. And the second one that I think is even worse is when you're gang stalking people while pregnant. I remember I had a pregnant gang stalker with the baby in her belly, and I thought, oh my goodness. There's some things you shouldn't be doing. You know in your heart you shouldn't, this is not something you want to be doing with a baby in your stomach. You know, even if I wasn't spiritual, I would still say you just gotta like, don't even like a just in case. You don't believe it, but just in case. You don't want one day that you see something happen and you say, oh, this was because I was gang stalking while I was pregnant. You might not say it to anyone, but in the back of your mind before you go to sleep, the idea pops up in your head. So like just in case, maybe. I think things like that are just like, I don't know. As a pregnant woman, you got to hold yourself to like a different standard. You got to say you're throwing up that day. You got to say like your water broke. You got to say something to not have to go outside that day. Like I don't know. I can't pretend to understand. I don't gang stalk people myself. I don't know what it's like in their group chats, how it works. I'm sure people power trip. I'm sure they blatantly bully people. I'm sure. I'm sure they gang stalk people in the group. I'm sure all of it happens, because if it happens to TIs on the outside, why on earth wouldn't it happen to gang stalkers? I'm sure. However, please, like, I feel deep, like, I don't even know what word to use. It's not even just disgust. It's almost like sadness for someone who's gang stalking while pregnant, or who has little children and they're gang stalking, pushing strollers and gang stalking people. What on earth do you think people are looking at you as a mother? Should be held to a different standard. These are the kind of things that just, I know with this TI thing, this gang stalking thing, it's the most corrupt, confusing thing that you've ever seen. I don't understand it at all. It's like, it's barbaric. It's barbaric is what it is. Most people that come into this obviously they're gonna turn to religion and spirituality. And as they do so, you know, some people do open to spirituality, which I think is what is supposed to happen, because I think gang stalking is a part of a spiritual ascension. This is where you open up to the spiritual world. This is where you really come in contact with spirits with an S, not just what you've been taught. And this is a really tough illusion to shatter, simply because if you grow up in families where everybody is whatever your religion is, and this is all you know, and then now all of a sudden you turn to spirituality where all the ideas are different, I think it's a very tough thing to, I know, because it was like that even with me. It's a very tough thing to come to terms with, that you've been lied to, that the things that they've said are not true. I don't like repeating it, but there's some biblical characters that just they don't exist in the way people think that they exist. Yes, angels exist, yeah, you know, but nobody's coming to save you in the way that you think. Um, this is something you have to be empowered to do yourself. So it's not, you have to let these illusions fall off of you. You have to let you have to let the religion stuff go. I'm saying the opposite of what people want to hear. Religion is basically being used to deceive people and to destabilize them from actually leaving, to leave this cycle, because these people know with spiritual guidance you can get out of here. They know that. People have gotten out. People have left whatever program you guys call this. People have left. There's a way. There is a way to leave. You do not have to do this time here. That's the truth. It's the truth. You don't have to stay here, and you don't have to endure a ton of the stuff that people are enduring. You don't have to get sick. You don't have to lose things. You don't have to have your life upside down forever. You don't have to. But in order to do so, you got to sacrifice religion. You have to sacrifice organized religion, whatever it is. You got to sacrifice it, and you got to face the truth of the spiritual world. Listen, I'm Black. I still like Hindu gods. I still, not very often, but do, say words of prayer to them. It's not necessarily just the religious thing, but you got to embrace what is true and let go of what is false. I find a lot of parts of Christianity to be false, like flat out lies. And the message of Christianity is correct, but it's been misinterpreted for people to think that there's an energy in the sky that's going to come and rescue them out of their problems. You're put here to go through your problems, to grow from your problems, not to be rescued from your problems, but to evolve from your problems. So, step by step, you're going to receive guidance, motivation. I'm not going to gloss over that one. Motivation is the difference of you walking this journey by yourself thinking no one cares, and you walking this journey with your spirit guides knowing that you're intensely loved. They're pushing you, they're cheering you on, they're carrying you when you're weak. They're providing for you. They're constantly with you. They refuse to let anything happen to you. And they're cheering you on. And when they can't cheer you on themselves, they send people to cheer you on. In the beginning of this, the outpouring of loving messages that I was coming into, messages saying you're doing an amazing job, you're beautiful just as you are, you're an amazing person, just positivity the whole way through, and going through everything you're going through as a TI, these words now mean double what they meant before. Having people that say you are supported, you are not alone. I come on my channel and I say, I promise I'm going to come every day. And I do. I keep that promise. If I miss a day here or there, it's rare. No matter what happens, I come because I have to, because I know that there are people who depend on getting a message, getting a good word, feeling motivated, feeling positive, feeling uplifted, getting a message that they need to hear. So step by step, guidance, being told where to place your feet, motivation, consolation, consoling you when you're feeling down, consoling you when you are crying, when you're not doing well, when you're feeling hopeless, giving you warnings that are very stern, because sometimes it's very serious, you not make certain mistakes, giving you hints, constantly hinting at you, this is a lesson you need to learn, this is something you need to do, you need to stop this, you need to do that. Constant giving hints and reminders. This is only a fraction of what it's like having spiritual guidance, which you need on this journey. Which you need on this journey. Give me a second. You do not want to be on your spiritual journey waking up, and I don't think you don't, not just that you don't want to be, but you can't. I think it's not possible. Give me a second here, guys. I don't think it's possible to be on your spiritual journey alone. I think that the guides come right away when it's your time. I think the only confusing part is, how do you communicate with them? How do you communicate with your guides in the beginning? And that's something I don't think anybody needs to really worry about. I think guides, they find their language with you. You find the way that you're supposed to be communicating with them as well, and you guys figure it out. You don't have to worry about, how am I gonna know? You're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel encouraged. You're gonna feel guided. You're gonna feel when what you're doing is not right. You're gonna feel all of those things. I think in the ways, I can't speak to necessarily what anybody else is going through, because a lot of the TI videos out there, they seem fake. So, by the way, guys in the live, if you can like the live, I would appreciate it. Thank you. A lot of the content seems so fake to me. So I don't really get, the people who I do believe are TIs don't make long enough videos and don't make the kind of content that would really give you like a very thorough understanding of how they have navigated it. It's very hard to see like what their full process is that they've gone through, or like you don't even know their story, how they came into it, how it happened. So it's kind of hard to gauge, it's kind of hard to figure out. But I mean, from what I can tell you about my journey, nobody taught me how to speak to spirit. We have our own way, we develop our own way. It's constantly developing, it's constantly enhancing. Obviously I pray, and that's how I communicate with them. And just through prayer, I mean, it's more than prayer, obviously, but like, you just come to it, you come into it. I think some of my barriers in the beginning used to be things like, first of all, let me start from here. You feel a little ridiculous in the beginning, because you're like, and I'm talking the very, very beginning. So this is before even me being gang stalked. I'm talking about way back at the very beginning. You feel a little bit ridiculous. The only time a newbie prays and doesn't feel ridiculous is when you're in trouble. So there's a lot of passion behind that prayer, because you're desperate, you need help. But to just sit there and start praying, sometimes you're like, is anybody hearing me? Am I just like praying into the wind? Like, what is going on? And then they start showing you, they start answering prayers. And I want to tell you, that is where the magic is, that is where the beauty is, and that is the easiest part. And they're eager for that. They are so eager for you to ask something. So let me explain this much. When you first start praying, Just talk to God normally. Don't try to do one of those Christian prayers or one of those like super religious prayers where it's like you're saying these exact correct things, and you know, you listen to people that flow into prayer right away and it sounds very uniform. I don't pray like that. I just talk to them. I just talk to them like people. I don't talk at them. I just talk to them. They have a consciousness. When they start talking back to you, it freaks you out because you're like, wait, they have a sense of humor? Nobody told me that. Like, spirits are like people without bodies. Your ancestors, were they not people? Why would they not be the same? They're the same. They're the same way. They have the same personalities. Whoever it is in your family that passed away, you start talking to them, you need help, you're being gang stalked, it's a tough situation, etc., etc. Okay, let's say it's a cousin. You know who this person was. They're gonna, if you get to the point where you can understand the communication, you're gonna see that it's the same person. It's going to give you such relief and such peace because you're like, oh my God, I know you. Oh, thank God. Thank God, you know, and you start your spiritual walk with them. And they start teaching you things. They start opening your mind. They start doing things for you. The relationship gets even stronger. So in the beginning of my relationship, I would ask for like, you know, because I'm still not 100% like believing, but I never asked for things. I asked for assistance. So I would say something like, I gotta go for this job interview. I really want to get hired. Please assist me. And then and then from the time I prayed the prayer, I knew it was getting answered. Why? I would wake up and that feeling would be there. That feeling, the environment, it's like a dewy day, dewy. And everything is gliding, gliding, gliding. You go get your coffee, they're super nice, they give it to you. Like everybody's happy everywhere you go. You get there, you're waiting for your interview, the receptionist comes, brings you a coffee, takes care of you. She's treating you like royalty in the waiting room. You come in, you talk to them, they fall in love with you. You guys end up being nice to each other. You guys even exchange numbers. You go home. You're like, they gave me their number, for sure they're calling me. They're like, we're gonna skip the second interview. We would love to have you on board. You're gonna start this day, sign the paperwork, and you just knew it. You knew it from the initial feeling because you've been having this relationship before. You've developed this relationship to this point. So you can tell how this is gonna go. And see, this is what I talk about. I don't teach people black magic because I don't think you need it. And I believe that black magic takes away from your life. It doesn't add to it. It brings in bad karma. It takes away your ability to connect to the energies that can do this for you. It takes away your ability to connect to light beings and angels and all of that. That's all it does. And so this is just the beginning of you building relationships with spirit. Building relationships with spirit is something that takes time because every relationship takes time to deepen. They come in at the right time. The right time is not necessarily when you're in trouble. The right time could be years before that happens because they need the relationship deepened. So they come in, and if you ask for very specific things, you get very specific things. And I always say, ask for specific things. Because as you ask for something specific, you give them a target. It's easy. It's easier. If you say, I want 93 stones, this is something easy to achieve, or more an easier target to achieve than saying, I want a lot of stones. You gotta try to be specific at times. Just be very specific. This is what I want. This is what I need. If you'd like to give them a date, good, but be realistic. Give a date that, I don't want to say be realistic. It's not. There's nothing realistic about this, but be give them time. Give them time. So if you're saying to them, I don't know, I'm gonna make an exaggerated example. I want $1 million. Do not bother saying I want $1 million next week. I want $1 million tomorrow. If you are at a $200 level and you want $1 million, then say, I would like $1 million in 3 years or 5 years. Give them time to develop you into the person who can have $1 million, who can handle $1 million, who can make $1 million. Give them time. Because otherwise, you ask for $1 million in 2 weeks. An example of how that would happen is you get into a fatal car crash in 2 weeks. And from there, you still have to wait the 2 years fighting with the insurance company to get the $1 million settlement. That's what it looks like. So when you trace it back, you got the $1 million in 2 weeks, but that's how it had to happen super fast. It's things like that. So try to be realistic. It's the only word that I can find. Reasonable, not realistic. Reasonable. Be reasonable. You're creating with spirit. So I always think, spirit, you have to look at it this way, and it does depend on the spirits that you call upon, right? But like, you're dealing with light energy, you're dealing with the Most High, you're dealing with God, Father God, Mother God, whichever one you talk to more. You're dealing with creating something. You're not a person who hurts somebody. First of all, when we're talking about karma, when you are karma neutral, you can start working towards things like this. When you are in a karmic deficit, you cannot create from karmic deficit. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. You cannot create from a place of karmic deficit. You need to heal that first. You need to fix that. You need to clean that up. Trying to get blessings in a place where you are owing karma is a waste of your time. You need to deal with that. Everything you get is going to be a struggle to get, and it's not going to stay in your hands, and it's definitely not going to grow. That's one of the rules that seems to me to be rock solid. Nothing grows. Nothing grows for you. You're not fertile at all. You're like a graveyard. So you have to be karma positive. Once you're karma positive, you're already, because you're karma positive, you're going to work with light energies. That's just how it is. People who work with dark energies cannot be karma positive. So the two just cancel out each other. You're working with light energies, and so you're trying to create. The creation thing takes relationship. It takes time. It's relationship building, yes, but it takes time to get to that point. And these relationships, as you become, I just want to like put it out there to people. As you become good at these skills, you don't just become good at this just so that you can ask for new things every week. That's not how this works. You're of service. So if you can perfect this skill, you're going to go into service because it's going to be needed in service. For me, the need for me is in service. And it's very obvious why. And it's shown to me every day why I am needed and why this is a skill or a skill set that I need to develop. Because, well, first of all, I had to develop it under duress. I had to develop it under by force. I had it, I was already using it, but I had to start really mastering it, if you will. And so once you get to this point where you can connect to spirit, you can create with spirit, you can troubleshoot with spirit, you live in harmony with spirit, you live in harmony with yourself, You embrace your spiritual growth. You embrace what you're called to do. You embrace the changes that come into your life. You grow from things. You learn lessons. You do the work. It's difficult stuff. It's energetic, but it's difficult. This has been a lifelong thing. All of these things that I'm doing now have been lifelong things. A commitment to growth, a commitment to doing better, a commitment to what is the word I want to, what is the phrase I want to say? To healing myself emotionally, constantly, going through traumatic things and then healing myself and coming back to myself. I have this thing that I posted on the community section, and it was basically a bear that was staying on the same spot in the mud going in circles, and he was doing this 7 years after being released. And the caption said, "This is how trauma traps you." And that is the truth. There are people who are trapped in traumatic situations or trapped in the behaviors that they have picked up from the trauma that they have gone through. And that's what gang stalking does. That is what gang stalking is constantly doing. It's like you were gang stalked and you continue gang stalking yourself. You were gang stalked and you can't tell the difference between when it's ending, when it's slowing down. You're continuing in the same behaviors. Maybe they're not gang stalking you as hard as they used to, but you still talk about it every day. You still complain about it every day. You're in the same place with it. There's been no growth because the trauma is trapping you. You're staying on that cycle. So this spiritual journey is about healing so that you are not constantly trapped in a loop, in a cycle, because you can't get off of the wheel. An ascension is a tightrope walk until you get comfortable, but the thing is you will get comfortable with it. It takes time, and I think there's a certain part of your journey that you just have to get over, and then you just kind of accept it. Like, there's always going to be an attempt to annoy you, an attempt to get at you, an attempt to do something to you. But after a certain point of your journey, you're going to block all of that out. You and your spirit guides are going to block all that chaos, that noise, the disruption. All of it is going to be blocked away from you. And so you're going to be aware that people are trying things, but it's not going to touch you. But while it's a tightrope, you got to be careful. You have to strengthen your spiritual relationships. You have to strengthen your spiritual bonds. You really have to learn how to listen to good guidance and trust your gut. And you got to be careful. I've navigated through my gang stalking experience. I've navigated very treacherous times, very scary, not scary, but times I gotta be very careful. Like they are going really, really far, I recognize, to paint some of these illusions. So I gotta be careful. There's gonna be a lot of spell work, which we already know and you cannot get around. There's going to be insane amounts of spell work constantly. I face spell work every single day. Every day. As long as I come on here, there's going to be spell work. As long as I pray and meditate, there's going to be spell work. It is what it is. It's a part of the journey. And I also want to express that you facing spell work during gang stalking, you might as well just accept that you're probably going to have a life full of this. I think spiritually awakening and then being of service to spirit as you awaken to your true life path, I think that you start understanding that's the purpose of you waking up. You're giving spiritual knowledge and guidance. I've seen other people that are doing this now, that are developing, in their own way now. And I see why they had to go through the spell work part of it. Because from what has been happening to the tarot readers, I don't think you want to go through any sort of spiritual awakening and come out of it and not know how to deal with spell work, because spell work is all that's going to come at you all the time. Spirituality uses a lot of your emotions, your imagination, and your beliefs. A lot of things you have to literally, I want to say, just use your childlike nature. You want to be able to visualize things. I don't want to call it imagination because you're not making it up, but you want to be able to visualize. You want to be able to, this is how people do a lot of things. This is how they astral project. This is how they come into your energy. They have to come into your home and map out the home, map out the house so that they can travel through the house. They know what it looks like. These are the things that need to happen. So you have to get into that mode. You have to be childlike. Just praying is being childlike. Closing your eyes and talking into the air and sending prayers up, that is being childlike. Believing in things that you don't see in front of you, that is being childlike. So that's what spirituality takes, and that is what develops you in your journey. This is going to take focus, mental agility, and discipline. Getting through an ascension, you got to be isolated because you got to do it properly. You don't want people's voices around you. You don't want to be hearing, past friends and family members and whatever discouraging you. You have to be separated. It is what it is. It's going to take a lot of focus, a lot of discipline, a lot of self-correction, a lot of listening to your gut, to get through this. And I don't want to say this in a way that discourages people, but once it starts, and you have to know that. Your mind manifests things into reality once you're working with higher energies and you're karma positive. You are able to call things into your existence and make things happen for yourself in a prosperous, healthy way that can be grown. And there's a difference. You're not stealing from people, you're not tricking people, you're not lying to people, you're doing things the right way, and things are coming into your space and coming into your life. All of that takes belief. It takes your belief, it takes your faith, it takes not doubting yourself, it takes focus and trying to get the hint of what you're being taught and what you're being set up to do. I want to say, in the beginning, as I was talking about before, is that in the beginning of your gang stalking experience, not your gang stalking, sorry, your spiritual experience where you're testing out your spirituality and your faith, literally, it's like they answer prayers just so that you can believe. They do things very specifically so you can believe. I remember so much so one time I asked for something and I had a specific thing in mind, specific just temperature. And as it got to that temperature, it was like it couldn't go beyond it. It could not go beyond it. It kept coming down. And I had been very intentional about praying about this. And it wasn't the beginning, but it was one of those shocking things where I just kept sitting there thinking, oh my God, like what's going on? And this example is not going to make sense because I'm not going in detail with what it is, but that's how it works with spirit in the beginning. Literally, like they are answering prayers just so that you can see that they're real, for you to get the opportunity to believe. And then you get to the point where you get to someone like myself where you can come on the internet and tell people this because you believe that much. Your faith in it is that unshakable that you want to share it with everyone. You're not at the point where anyone can convince you otherwise. You've seen too much. Going through your spiritual ascension, aka gang stalking, because gang stalking is one of the ways that you go through a spiritual ascension. If you're being gang stalked, I want to say you probably have a harder journey ahead, but the harder the journey, the bigger the rewards. That's what I say. The harder the journey, the bigger the blessings. You need to watch yourself closely at this time. You need to be evaluating yourself all the time. Your thinking, your working habits, your emotional temperature, your everything. Because you got to watch yourself for spell work. Are you all of a sudden lethargic? Are you all of a sudden tired? Are you all of a sudden demotivated? Are you not getting work done? Are you eating too little? Are you eating too much? Are you This is the sign of spiritual things happening around you. And it's not just things happening for no reason. It's like you're falling sick all of a sudden, or just things that are not normal. All of us, you were always healthy. All of a sudden, you're getting skin conditions. You're always healthy. All of a sudden, you're in and out of the hospital, etc., etc., etc. No, 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 no. You got to watch yourself. This is how you're going to know when you need to cleanse spiritually. And cleansing spiritually is a habitual thing. It needs to happen all the time. It is a routine. So you need to evaluate yourself so that you don't sit under the influence of negative energy for too long. Oftentimes I see TIs on YouTube who are suffering from things that are easy to clean. But because they've soaked in it, it's manifested itself into like disease and like, mental illness and low self-esteem and all these different things. And it's like, you know what? You got to reverse it. Because it's spell work, it can be reversed. If it was as a result of your actual actions, something that you are doing, like a deficiency with you or being in a bad environment, then sure. But if it's from energy work, it can be cleared. It's just going to take a little bit longer to clear, and you need to educate yourself on how to spiritually cleanse. And I'm always like, I don't see the big deal in learning that of all things, when the benefit is going to be your health, it's going to be your well-being, it's going to be your emotional temperament, why your quality of life. Why would you not want to do something that might seem a little bit off to you? It might seem like it doesn't necessarily connect to what you're trying to accomplish, but who cares? Who cares? A spiritual bath is essentially, at the base of it, a salt bath. And you could use Epsom salt, you can use coarse salt, you can use whatever kind of salt, but it's essentially a salt bath. It doesn't take anything from you to do it. It clears up so much. You're literally in the bath feeling lighter. So gotta open your mind to like new solutions, because let me tell you, had I not been opened, I would not get out of this situation in the way that I have. If you don't learn, so you are here to learn lessons. This gang stalking experience is a lesson after lesson after lesson type of thing. Look at it like boot camp. If you don't learn the lessons, you're stagnated. You are stuck. Every single time I learn a lesson, I feel another weight lifted off of my shoulders. Every time I learn something, I feel a weight lifted off my shoulders. The last weight that I felt lifted off my shoulders was when I learned to get rid of the rage that I was feeling that was being projected towards me. I mean, I could literally be having a great day, relaxing, and then all of a sudden a rage comes over me that has nothing to do with anything going on. I learned to get over that and not let that affect me, not let that affect my moods. Let life happen, let things change. As things come and they present a challenge, don't be stuck with it. As you're presented new challenges, step over it. Step over every challenge that comes. Just deal with it and block it out. Block the chaos out. Find peace. 2 things that you really should do. 3. I want to say my top 3 that I would say for gang stalking. 1, get rid of a schedule if you can, and do not go to the same places all the time. Even though, and I'm going to say this with a catch-22. There's sometimes I don't care. I know I shouldn't go there and I go anyway because I don't care. I want the shortest route, blah, 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 whatever. I don't care. But I know better, but I don't care. So that's 1. So get rid of that schedule so that they cannot on a regular basis bombard you with seeing gang stalkers, crowding out in the streets, noise theater, this, that, and the third. Get rid of it. Number 2, block out chaos. For me, that is isolating myself from the chaos that's out there. I don't want drama, whether it's with neighbors, coworkers, friends, this, that, the third. I just withdraw because Problems are going to find you wherever you are. There's always going to be some type of problem that starts out of thin air. You got to barricade yourself away from chaos. And the third one is the spiritual journey and spiritual cleansing. Once you begin spiritually cleansing, you need to be in a certain headspace for gang stalking to really work. You need to be able to be affected by being outside and people are gang stalking you and making you uncomfortable. You will still notice that they're gang stalking you, but it will not be the feeling of paralysis. It will not be fear. It will not be anxiety. It will not be running away. You'll be walking shoulder to shoulder next to these people because you see them as people now. It's no longer gonna piss you off. It's no longer gonna upset you because you accept it and because there's no spell work to support it. Regular cleaning is very essential. The gang stalking cannot work without the spell work. I'm telling you, they need your anxiety, they need you depressed, they need all of these feelings so that they need you to think everybody's after you, so when you go outside you don't see the world as a normal world anymore. You see only the gang stalking world, and that becomes your personal experience. I go into the normal world now, I can still see gang stalkers. I ignore them. I don't look at them. I don't run from them. If I need to pick up something right next to them, I'm gonna do it. I'm probably actually gonna be closer to them than I would to a normal person. Normal person, I might say, excuse me. To them, I'm gonna stand right close to them and be weird like they're weird to me. Because they wanted to be close. They wanted to come around. As soon as you come around them, they run off. They get nervous. They're like, oh my God. Why? Because they too are TIs. They too are victims of gang stalking. They too are being bullied half the time. They too understand that this behavior is weird. It's a psychological thing. If you hang around a person in a weird way, you get nervous. You want to get out of that situation. These are people. Accept that these are people and stop letting this anxiety control your life. But if you spiritually cleanse, you lose your schedule, get rid of it if you can, or be as unpredictable as possible. And what was the third one I said? Spiritual cleanse, your schedule, and what was the third one? I forget what the third one was, but if you do those three things, that is the beginning of your gang stalking experience. Oh, isolating from chaos and just creating peace around you. A lot of what's happening in your life is because you're being bombarded by that pressure. And once you take the top off and let the pressure all out, you're gonna notice like, no, I am a normal human being who has a group of lunatics that won't leave me alone, but that's not gonna change my life experience. I'm gonna still walk around and do what I gotta do. I'm still gonna go where I have to go. I'm still gonna do the things that are important for me, and then you move around and that's it. That is it, and that is all. You're gonna feel a weight lifted in your environment after every lesson that you learn, and then you're gonna start being eager to learn them, because who does not want out? We all want out. You have to accept what's being taught. One of the biggest lessons I've learned during gang stalking is how to forgive, because I've had to forgive everything. If you don't forgive, you're gonna be in a rage, you're gonna be upset, you're gonna be hurt, you're gonna be mad at people. You gotta forgive, and then you gotta release. Tough? Yes. I had to learn that one. And the forgiveness took even forgiving past people before gang stalking who did me wrong, and I was just still holding on to it. Now you can travel on light. Is it a one-day process? Absolutely not. It's gonna take time. You gotta remain committed to it, and your spirits will keep reminding you of it because they know you gotta purge it. They know you gotta clear it out. As you start forgiving, you forgive the people doing this to you. I've forgiven, you know what? I can honestly say yes, I have forgiven gang stalkers because I know why they're doing it. They don't have a choice, or they think they don't have a choice. They think they're stuck. They don't have the correct information. Anybody thinking that they're stuck in gang stalking does not have the correct information. That is all. Now, this is very important, this part of what I'm gonna say. This is something I had to learn. So I am being gang stalked. Horrible experience, obviously. I'm asking God for help, and I'm asking God to save me. And in response to that, God is telling me to please be strong. And I'm getting confused. I'm like, what? God's like, you need strength. You need strength. You need to pass tests that are going to be coming your way. And I'm thinking, this is not how it was supposed to go. I thought like I would just be saved, I'd be rescued, then I could get back to my life. Life could move on. That was a false expectation of mine. I think it's a lot of false expectation to other people as well. We are being empowered to save ourselves in this journey. We are being empowered to grow from this, to find the solutions. It is a Christ walk. We are the Christ. We are Jesus. So we are here to save ourselves. We are being hung on the cross. We are going through hell, and then we are going to be rising again into our new life, not the old one, but the new one that you build for yourself. You are the one that's going to turn your tide. Nobody else is, because nobody else is here. You got to do the work one step at a time. You need to fight back against this thing. You need to push back against it. And I don't mean push back as in fight people in the streets or have arguments. No. You need your peace. I mean, you fight back against all the energy work that's coming towards you. You cleanse that out of your space. You cleanse it off of your body. You cleanse it out of your mind. You take care of the attacks that are coming your way. You need to push back whenever there's something that they don't want you to do. Then that is what you know you have to do. And so you use that, you use them as a guide for where you're going. They panic when you do things that they don't want you to do. There's a panic that they go through. And because of this panic, it tells you, well, this is what they don't want. So if I come on here and I try to teach people about spirituality, there's a panic. And that's when I get the most spell work. And I had to learn that the spell work I got every time I talked to people about spirituality was always like rage and these kind of things. I even got into a car accident, like all kinds of things were happening. And then I got to the point where I was like, no, this is what I got to talk about more. I have a whole channel full of practical information. Turn off your cell phone. Don't walk with your cell phone if you don't want to be followed. All kinds of things. Use cash. Go to different places. There's all kinds of things on a practical level that can help you. But let me tell you that spiritual work, that's what they're scared of. Because once you start connecting spiritually, here comes the protection, the guidance. They know you're going to fly out of here. They know that is how they lose people. That is why they want to keep people stuck in certain religious beliefs. They know that as soon as a person gets spiritual, there's nothing they can do. And not just spiritual in the sense of like you read tarot or you believe in spirituality. I'm talking about you become the white version of what they're the black version of. So if they're a black witch, then you're a white witch. And what I mean by white witch is you are just basically, you can move energy. You can control the energy around you. You can clean the energy around you. You can make sure that the energy is clear. You can take care of yourself so that you don't fall sick. And a part of that is, this is how it works when you can manifest. This is how it works when you can connect to spirits and you have positive karma. Once the karma is positive and you're connecting to the right spirits in the right way and you're walking that path, of course they're going to get you out of here. Of course you're going to walk out of here with them and there's nothing anyone can do about it. No gang stalker, no one can stop it. Simple and plain, like, because they're working with the dark version of what they know that you're onto them. They know that you're going to get the guidance. You're going to get the answers. So there's nothing that they can do anymore. They've lost you. The most they can do now is just try to like poke you every now and again, poke the bear and stuff like that. But as far as like being able to trap you here, 12 years being gang stalked, all of that, they know they can't do that. Your ancestors already have the picture of what's supposed to happen. Your ancestors are like, you got to endure this for like maybe 6 more months. Just hold on, don't worry. 6 more months. And after that, we already know what you're going to do. The place you're going to go to is still occupied right now. We got to wait 6 months for it to sell, or we got to wait for 6 months for something. And then we're getting out of here. You will be living life differently. And this is not just for now, this is for the rest of your life. This is your path. This becomes your path. What they're talking about with manifestation, what they're talking about with opening your chakras, what all of this is not just hocus pocus, it's not just imagination. I'm telling you, the purpose of all of this, to learn all of this in good times, is so that when you get to bad times like this, you can use those same techniques to get out of here. Maybe, yes, some people use manifestation to like manifest a house or a career or this or that. But if you're learning to manifest, it's because you know you can manifest yourself out of gang stalking. You think, if you told me which one would I need more, to manifest out of gang stalking or to manifest myself a new house, I want to get out of gang stalking. Anybody who's really been gang stalked knows that is more critical. So it's like, this is what you develop these skills for. If you're already in this situation, you tap in, you learn how. Spirituality is for everybody. It's not just for special people with special gifts. Everybody has ancestors. Everybody can pray. Everybody can get help. You do not have to be stuck here. Get out. You need to get out of this situation. This is not where you want to stay. And I keep repeating that. It is time to move forward with conscious effort, with focus. You need to move forward. You're going to say, well, how do I start? Start learning some lessons around you. What is not working? What needs to go? What practices do you have that are not helping? What have you settled for? Have you just settled for people following you everywhere, or are you trying to move around without being detected? What are you settling for? Have you just settled for the fact that people are energetically in your space, or have you tried to look for spiritual solutions? Because this is an energetic issue, so you need an energetic spiritual solution. Have you tried to look for solutions to get out of here? You need a solution to get out of here. And the energy solution, you have to think about how things work. You pray for something first and then it happens, which means that it needs to happen first spiritually, and then in the flesh you see the manifestation of your prayers, of your desires. It is the same thing with gang stalking. You must first pray to leave gang stalking. You must first be very intentional about leaving gang stalking. You must envision leaving gang stalking. You must start living like one who's no longer being gang stalked. Let me give you an example. Today, my door's slightly ajar. New neighbor bouncing a basketball outside, hard as hell, making a ton of noise. As soon as I listened to it, I was like, that's a bit like distracting. That's a bit annoying. I just went and closed the door. The thought came across my mind. I said, this is why people complain about noise, isn't it? I just went and I closed my door, and I was listening to something on my laptop, and I turned it up to hear better, and that was it. That was the fix. Because I don't want to be one of these people who starts complaining about noise outside of my space. I don't want to be one of these people. And so this is a fix. And I take it as, well, if that's what the neighbor wants to do, then that's what they're going to do. And I'm not taking it as gang stalking. Why? Because I'm living as one who doesn't want to live under these conditions anymore. And so it's like, it's like the way you respond. So there's some people who might respond to a very rude person like, oh, I'm so offended, and they go home and they think about it and they come back the next day and they complain and on and on. And there's some people who are like, well, you know, that's unfortunate, I don't want to be a part of that, and they avoid that person ever again. because they just don't want the disruption to their peace, because their peace is now their priority. The peace is for the place from which you create. So you stop problems for yourself. If somebody is bringing a problem like that, I could decide it's gang stalking, or I could decide it's just a regular person. I choose to decide it's a regular person and move forward with my day. Just for the sake of my peace, that is the choice that I choose to make. And this is how you have to move forward, or you have to decide, do I want this problem? Probably not. How can I try not to make that one not a problem to me? That one that is a problem, how can I try to get away over it, outside of it? How can I try to fix it? That one that really triggers me, how can I deal with that trigger? Is it something that I can avoid, or am I just gonna have to heal it? So you start combing through your life little by little, looking at where you can plug in the gaps, like where you can not be upset. You need your peace, you need your happiness, you need your high vibrations with your spirit, to work with your spirit team. This is something that you consciously have to work on all the time so that you can stay in high vibration. So it's easy to flow into prayer. It's easy to pray. It's easy to say, hey, I need help on this. Could you guys figure this out for me? Whatever the case is, that's what they're there for. They're there to walk with you. They're there to do this journey with you. So you want to keep them close, regardless. You want to keep them close. And the more you're focused on being stressed out, that's why these people are stressing you out all the time, to create barriers between yourself and your spirit guides. Because these are high vibrational energies, not lower vibrational energies. You can be, if you're even in a high vibration, you can't access them. You got to be a match to the energies that come around. So when people can't access you, they have to put you in a low vibration. And I can say, the less time you spend in low vibrational energy, the less time you spend in low vibrational energy, the more time, the less that these energetic attacks can work on you. They can send them, but they'll never work. If you're always at peace and you're always relaxed and you're always happy and you're always doing something, and I don't mean like giddy happy, but you're not where they wanted you to be. You're not trapped by them. They can't control your every move. They can't control everything around you. You're pulling away. Slowly but surely you're pulling away. This is where you want to get to, and where you're pulling to is your north node. Where you're pulling to is working with spirits, because that's the whole point of having a spiritual awakening. That is the whole point of you being introduced to spirits, is so that you can now work with them. You can now talk to them. You can now communicate. They can let you know what the next steps are. This is the next phase. And believe me, unfortunately, you're learning all of this for a reason, as terrifying as it is. You are learning all of this for a reason. You're going through gang stalking for a reason. You're learning to do spiritual work for a reason. Chances are there's opposition in your future. Chances are you don't want to be stuck here. And chances also are that you will be blessed immensely just for having gone through this, because that's how higher vibrational spirits work. They always do equal give and take. They never do like steal from you. And you know when you're working with high vibrational spirits because of the way they behave. They always want something better for you. They want you to do things that are good for yourself. They want you to take care of yourself. They're never, if you're even angry, they don't want that. If you're fighting with people, they don't want that. They want you to let go of drama. They want you to stop doing toxic things. Like, that's how you know that it's high vibrational spirits. They want you to eat healthier and exercise and this and that and the third. Spirit guides, that's what they're there for. They're not there just for, I don't know what people think. But it's family. It's your family in the spirit. And they're going to tell you things. Stop going over here. Stop doing this. Stop doing that. Get rid of this. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Like, that's what they're there for. That is what they're there for. So you got to keep them close. You need to do this walk yourself. You're saving yourself. They've maybe determined the destination for you. They've determined that you need to leave, but you need to walk. You need to do the walk. If you need to get from point A to point B, they cannot walk for you. They cannot magically make your body appear. You gotta do step by step. You gotta go through it. Is it intense? Absolutely. Let me tell you, had I not gone through gang stalking, I have, once you've gone through gang stalking, you have a special sympathy for targeted individuals because you know that no matter what, it's not their fault. It's not their fault. If they are not mentally okay, it's not their fault. If they have erroneous ideas about what's going on, it's not their fault. If they are having a tough time waking up and doing for themselves, it's not their fault. You know that it's just not their fault. They're doing their best. And they've stayed too long a lot of times. They've stayed too long. They've accepted their fate. They've accepted that the abuse is what's going to constantly happen. They've not evolved. They've not grown. They've not learned any lessons. They haven't risen to any of the challenges, and then they're scared. Our job is to leave. Our job is to grow from any challenge that life presents. Let me tell you something. You do not carry all the problems in the world. You don't. Look at people right now, celebrities in the media. We can see people having a tough time everywhere, and I mean a really tough time. Look at people like Alex Jones. Look at people like P. Diddy. Look at people like J-Lo. Look at any celebrity you could think of. People and the ones who are going through things, who are going through tough. Who else was there? Kevin Spacey. These people are losing their wealth, their social status, their careers. They are going through the challenge of a lifetime, the biggest challenge you could face. Imagine how you're going to come back from owing $1.5 billion, having to liquefy your assets. That's a shakedown. That is being plunged into poverty. That's a fall from grace. You are not the owner of all the problems in the world. I say it with love and sympathy. I say it to myself. You can get through this. Look at these people fighting these battles for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, never giving up, hanging in there. It takes guts to get there, and it takes guts to stay there, and then it takes triple the guts not to fall. This is life. This is life. This is life. We have to go through life. So gang stalking is just a part of this. One step at a time, call in your guides, call in your help, call in your ancestors, and show yourself what you're made of. Build yourself. Master yourself. One day at a time, not tomorrow. You're not going to be done tomorrow. But every day improvements, every day inching towards your new life. What more do I need to do? What do I need to accomplish? What can I improve? What can I enhance on? What can I build upon? Every day inching forward, inch by inch by inch by inch. Even though you don't make up a lot of ground all at once, by the time you lift your head and you're like miles away from where you started. I am so far from where I started. I have come such a long way from the beginning of this gang stalking journey. I have peace. I'm not being crowded around on the streets. I mean, it is to a group of people's disbelief that this is even possible. So this is why I'm here, and I'm giving this back. I'm giving this information back. Everybody can do this. It's just a journey. That's it. This is not a destination. You can't come here to stop. You're not on some prison island. It's just a journey. It's just a journey. Everybody gets hit hard. When life hits, it hits hard. Money's not going to stop the hit. Fame is not going to stop the hit. Connections is not going to stop the hit. It's going to hit. And you gotta not fall. You gotta be able to take a hit and keep going. You gotta fall and get back on the horse. You gotta get back on the horse. You gotta keep going. You have to dodge it 100 times. Dodge that fall 100 times. Because I tell you this much. If you didn't get used to it on the 65th time, by the 100th time, you're used to it. That's nothing. By the 100th time of dodging something, you're reading a paper while dodging it. You're drinking a coffee while dodging it. You're doing your exercises while dodging it because you're so used to dodging it. And now you can move forward. It's a muscle you have to exercise, but you can't stay here. And you gotta learn, and you gotta be open to learning new things, talking to God, talking to beings. Yeah, you're gonna feel ridiculous in the beginning because you're like, is anybody hearing me? And then one day you just see it, you start seeing it, and once you start seeing it, you can't stop seeing it. And then you're like, oh my God, they're real. It's real. What is happening? What is going on here? And then you get deeper and deeper and deeper, and this becomes your habit. This is who you are. This is how you walk around the world, smile on your face as if you're not being gang stalked. And then one day you sit there and you're like, do I technically qualify as a TI? Like, technically speaking, am I technically even a TI? You know, I'll tell you, I used to post, and I took them down now, but I used to post videos in my shorts of how happy and at peace I was, because I feel like, I don't know if people, like, people didn't get to see that side of me, that playful side, that happy side, whatever. And I thought to myself, people are not going to believe I'm a TI if this is what I'm posting, because it just really seems like I'm at ease. But the truth is, I am at ease. I've worked damn hard, 2 years of getting here, but not 2 years wasted, not 2 years of just being gang stalked. 2 years of learning, navigating. First of all, what is this world? Second of all, how do I get out? Third of all, okay, how many steps is it gonna take? I go down this way, I'm blocked off. Okay, let me go here. Go down this way, I'm blocked off. Let me go here, and just continue going. And I could tell you that the people in my city, I'm sure that they wish they would have listened. I hope they learned something, if nothing else, just to have hope that they should walk away from this. Because you start realizing a lot of people are trapped up by this thing. A lot. You have to know that as long as you keep going, keep learning, that success is guaranteed. That as much as you are at war with this thing that wants to take over your life, that taking your own journey one step at a time, a little bit at a time, clearing your energy a little bit at a time, every day, clearing it out, creating a space of peace for yourself, that growth is gonna happen regardless, because growth always wants to happen. If we all left this planet, we know if you abandon a place, you're gonna come back, it's gonna be all weeds, it's gonna be all bush. The longer you leave it for, it doesn't matter how urban it is. It could be New York, it'll be overrun with weeds and trees and grass and all of that, because nature just wants to grow. It's us that disrupts the growth. It's us that obstructs it. But if you sit still in peace for a while, growth is going to happen. By itself, it is going to happen. Walk through your war. Walk through your spiritual war, your energetic war. Walk through the battles that are meant to take you down. Learn everything you can from it. Toughen yourself from it. Master those challenges and just keep moving forward. The second thing and the last thing I want to say, is it the last one? Nope, it's not. There are people going through a second ascension, and a second ascension is basically when you go through your first ascension. I think some people are gang stalked, but it's not as hard. They make it out. And then there's people who are gang stalked again. or they have something happen to them again. Maybe the second ascension might just be like spiritual battles. That's not a punishment. Listen, listen. This is so important. When going through gang stalking, by the way, the new people who just joined, I'd love if you would like the live for me. That really helps the channel grow. Let me tell you, when you're going through an ascension, gang stalking, if you are let out too early, before you learn all the lessons that you're supposed to learn, if you are let out of this place too early, you are going to be susceptible to being gang stalked over and over again throughout the course of your life. Because it's through the lessons that you learn how to not let it happen again. It's looking at the lessons of how it happened the first time is how you make sure it doesn't happen a second time. This is very important to understand. If you go through gang stalking the first time and you realize they access you through your school, they access you through your work, they access you through this way or that way. Once you do this, once you know how to, shut those doors, I may not want to go to that school anymore. I may not want to go to this job anymore. I may not want to go down this avenue anymore. Once you shut those doors and you recognize, well, if I take another avenue, because you're going to try another way, you take another avenue and they access you like this, well, now you have to stop looking at it as how many different ways am I going to go? Now you have to start categorizing what kinds of places am I going to go that I'm not going to have this issue. You might come down to, I need to work from home, because it doesn't matter how many different workplaces I go to. Every time I go, the existing people there turn into gang stalkers. So I got to work from home. And that's all it boils down to. This was the learning process. This was the journey. This was what the journey was about. Going down different corridors to see which one is the correct one. So you have to go through all of the lessons. You cannot leave too early. If you leave too early, that is not to your benefit. If you leave too early, it is not to your benefit. It is to your disadvantage. Excuse me. Because how are you going to know when to not, for it not to start again? See, I had to learn how they started their process with me, and it is a process. And I should talk about that process. That's going to be the next thing that I talk about. How does the process start? And I'm going to give you guys both the spiritual and the physical side of all of this. I'm going to break down the process of gang stalking. I think in breaking down the process of gang stalking, you guys will understand that the spiritual component of this thing, it's not optional. You have to walk with in a spiritual journey. You see, because I know how it works, not only can I know when they're trying to open the cycle back on me again, which they've been trying to do for 6 months, not only do I know when they're trying to open the cycle again, but I can also see when they're doing it to others. They start covertly with you before they actually show up. And some people are in for a rude awakening when this gang stalking thing starts and when it opens up on them, because it will. This is needed. It is an ascension process and it's needed. They need to learn. They need to learn how. Sometimes you might look at life and you might think like life is being done to punish you. And it's not necessarily to punish you. It's to teach you. It's to build you. And it's to grow you as a person. So that's how you got to take gang stalking like your ascension. It's your path. It's your path to growth. Does it suck? Yes. Does bankruptcy suck? Yes. But some people need bankruptcy to learn how to use money. And there's no way around it. No matter what you were to tell them, no matter what they would see, it would only take going down that path for them to learn. Is that path painful? Yes. Is it embarrassing? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. But that is what they have to see. And there's just literally no way around it. So this is what it boils down to in every facet, to be honest with you. Do not become complacent and accepting of these circumstances like this is just your life now. This is not your life. This is people forcing an agenda. This is not your life. It's not your life. All of the things that you've been accepting as I just have to deal with it, I would like you to now go back to all of those things and challenge them. Do I really just have to deal with people gang stalking me? Do I really have to deal with people talking to me like this? Do I really have to deal with this? Do I really have to deal with that? No. No, 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 no. You gotta cut that out. You're gonna be guided through a spiritual ascension. And like one of my biggest things about why you have to learn all the lessons, I look at the tarot readers who are, maybe they have psychic abilities, but they're not using their spiritual abilities. You can literally talk to God. Why are you letting yourself be gang stalked? You literally talk directly to God. Just talk to God and be like, who is this? What is this? What is this about? Get me out of here. What do I need to do? I'm ready to go. That's it. You literally, we all can talk to God. God is not open to talking. The whole point of what we're doing here is to talk to God, is to recognize God, is to come into connection to God while in a physical vessel. I call it touching the sky. I thank the universe that I got to do this and I got to experience this life in this way. This is a very magical existence that I have. I am in love with this phase of life, even though it comes with its own challenges and its own drawbacks and its frustrations. As I heal those things, as I become better at those things, everything else, all I'm left with is the magic. After those things disappear in my rearview mirror, I'm just left with the magic. Like, it's like, imagine driving in a car with God in the passenger seat and you're like, so, you're really real, huh? And God's just like, yup. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. And I talk about this experience with God all the time. And listen, I gotta put my notes down for a bit because I gotta talk about this part. God is not what anybody, like what people think. It's not like the Bible. This is not formal at all. This is a consciousness. Let me tell you guys, last night, so this joke comes on my screen, and this would be hard to like explain because God communicates with energy. And well, God communicates a lot of ways, but energy is one of the ways, right? And what is energy? Like emotions. So you'll feel an emotion of love. You'll feel okay, when you're with someone, 80% of the communication is nonverbal. It's those small cues. They get tense. They get serious all of a sudden. They get angry, but they don't show it. That's their energy shifting. Somebody comes up and they get giddy. It's their energy. They didn't say I am giddy, but you know it. So God communicates emotions in the same way. You can also tap into other people's emotions in the same way. You think you got to be psychic, but you do it when you're standing there with people. You can do it remotely as well. So anyway, say God communicates with emotions. I'm watching this meme. It comes up and it's something God's been pushing me to do for like the longest time, to like, encouraging me. And so the meme is basically talking about a mother telling her daughter, like encouraging her daughter to do something, and it's like her daughter's being stubborn. And I'm laughing about this because it's hilarious. And Spirit gives me this energy, this feeling of like she wanted to tell me this joke. And I can feel in her thing, and I'm just like, oh my God, I can tell she laughed at this joke because she's like, that's you. You're stubborn. And this is what I mean. This is what I mean. You're going to think to yourself, well, how do I communicate with Spirit? How do you explain feeling the energy around you and there's no one there but the energy that you pray to? There's no physical person here, and you're feeling an energetic interaction. the same way you do with human beings. Spirit is energy without the body. So the 80% of nonverbal communication is still there. It's just nonverbal. You don't need words to know that someone's not your friend. You don't need words to know that someone loves you. You don't need words. Do your animals talk? They cannot speak any English, but you know they love you. You know which ones love you more. You know which ones might run away and not come back. Hopefully not. Hopefully nobody's animal is like that. But this is the point that I'm making. It's energy. It's energy. That's it. It's energy. Yes, they have a sense of humor. I remember I was listening to something online, and somebody was talking about something. They were talking about I can't remember, something about like not putting offerings on your altar and like negotiating with spirits to get the offerings. And I was like floored. I was like, who goes to spirit with no offerings? Like, what? I'm like confused by the whole thing. So I'm thinking this in my head. And one of my ancestors comes in and screams the same way as a person that this energy would have spoken when alive. They don't have the food to give. We laughed about this from the time I was going to the grocery store, from the time I stepped in, the whole time there, the whole time out. I'm telling you, they have a sense of humor. You don't have to worry about how spirit's going to communicate with you. You don't have to worry about if you're going to know the right thing to do. They are not going to let you fail. Once you're in communication, you can kind of lay back a bit. I'm not saying become like lazy or complacent in your journey, but it's the part of the journey where you're like, oh, the experienced pilot is here. I sort of kind of know what I'm doing. I sort of kind of remember, oh my God, I'm like, the plane's kind of dropping sometimes, and I'm kind of not staring and I'm falling asleep. And then the experienced pilot gets here and you're like, okay, I can co-pilot now. I can co-pilot. I can listen to instructions and they can pilot. And once they're in control, are you kidding me? There's nothing that is impossible for them to do, because you start realizing that this whole path is prescribed. This path was already ordained. All of the obstacles on this path were put here precisely because these are the things that you need to know. That's why different people's gang stalking experiences are different. Some people get V2K, some people get noise campaigns, some people get crowding in the street, some people get this, some people get that. It's different lessons that you need to learn. We are jumping different hurdles. We're on a different race. We're in different lanes. Our callings are different. What we are supposed to do is all different. So you learn the things that you should be learning, but all of us should be learning how to clean spell work. Let me talk to you, the people who are here. This is sage. White sage. You can use other sages. Some people use red sage, dragon blood sage. I haven't tried a lot of them. I use white sage. I like white sage. Cleanses my space, cleanses the air around me. It keeps me safe. I do it as a routine, so my space is always clean. It doesn't matter how much spell work or energy you send towards me that can be cleaned with sage. Then I have other cleanses for other things that happen to me. I have a solution to everything that is sent, but I had to find so many solutions and categorize so many of them that now I'm at the point where if they send me something new and the old cleanses don't work, I just go looking for a new one. And when it really comes down to it, I just ask my ancestors, like, what should I do about this? Some things they're like, don't do anything. Just put some offerings on the altar for us. We'll do it. A lot of things. So you live your life at peace now. Somebody did what? Spell work is no longer an emergency. It's part of your life. You live half in the spirit and half in person. You don't worry about people. People that do you wrong, you let it go. You let it go. Why do you need to deal with it? You're going to go to your bed before bed tonight. You're going to ask God to rectify all these issues for you, take care of you, put you in the right place. It's going to be taken care of. That's it. Done. You know that because they always do. There's nothing in you that makes you think that it's not going to be done. It always gets done. You really have to look past your circumstances at the target. That's a big one that I got. Look past your circumstances right now to the target. The target is getting out of here. You can't live your life without targets and without goals. The goalpost is getting out of here. Keep kicking the ball over there. Sometimes they're going to get your ball into their goal. They're going to score, and that's okay. Now you get the ball back. You keep kicking it over here. Don't let them use the same things on you every day. Why are you enduring this? You can't go through the same kind of thing every single day. They're doing the same thing. Every single day they're doing the same thing. They're using the same tricks, and it's still getting to you? Absolutely not. You got to clear out that energy. You got to clear out that energy. You don't need to be facing the same tactics all the time. Look past the circumstances. Do not be discouraged by the circumstances. Be patient with spirit. Give them time. Hang in there. You will be okay. You will be fine. Excuse me, your circumstances can be obstacles in your way. It can be betrayals, people fighting you down, people bullying you, court cases, taking away your kids, gang stalking, divorces that are messy. These circumstances present hurdles and challenges in your life that it's going to take some time to untie yourself from, but that's okay. Take your time, one step at a time. One step at a time. You will get through it. Look past the circumstances at the target. And the target is your future, a happy life that you deserve, the mission that God has you on. And a lot of times, the targets that you're looking at are bigger than you. Sometimes you're going to live a life of service where you're just going to be here to help other people, and that's okay. Whatever it is that is your target, let it be directed by not just yourself but your spirit guides, but always make sure that your target includes leaving gang stalking and leaving being a targeted individual. You got to start saying things like, I was a TI. And every time I say that, they try to do something else. They try to catch me in the street this time. But it's like, TIs are gang stalked and punished night and day. You have to wait for me to come outside to gang stalk. It's like they're trying to prove to me like, no, you are a TI. I don't identify with that. I don't. And because I don't have to behave that way. I don't have to walk in that energy. I don't have to feel that way. I don't have to care about that. I don't have to fight with anybody. I don't have to engage in anything. That's that on that for me. I don't have to stay as a TI because somebody wanted me to be a TI. I want to say Happy Father's Day to any of the dads out there. I want to say, God the Father has not been an energy in my last 2 years that I have paid a significant amount of attention to. I used to before all of this, and then I had to get into the other energies that I had to learn about, which is the mother energy, which is my ancestors, which is other spirit energies that are out there that are absolutely real. Not all the gods are real, but there are some that are very, very real, beautiful energies that I got to connect with. And the spiritual journey has been, I call it a magic carpet ride. I live a very magical experience, in my opinion. I want that for everybody, because why do you need to live like this? Why do you need to be at the mercy of anyone? But today is Father's Day, which falls on a Sunday. And so I want to wish everybody out there Happy Father's Day. But if you do have an altar, well, it's kind of late now, but if you have an altar, even if you do it tomorrow, set up something for a father energy if that's on your altar. I have information about how to set up an altar on my page. Ancestral worship, like I said, it's not something with just like one culture of people. It's like global, so it's nothing new. Setting out offerings and foods for your ancestors and honoring them and having things that have their energy on it and stuff like that. Like these are things that we've all done as in humanity for a long time. So these are the things that I do. So on my channel, there's a bunch of playlists that have all this kind of information. And I call my page a Gang Stalking Bible because I literally have information from whether it's spirituality, very practical, whatever it is, it's all there. So just check the playlist and see what works for you. And the other thing that came to me today that I wanted to mention, please, when you're taking your spiritual journey and involve your children, educate them as you become educated, grow them as you become grown, because if you're facing spiritual battles, chances are they are going to end up facing the same spiritual battles as well. Give your children to God. I gave my children to God long before this situation, thankfully, so that my kids could be covered, so that any sort of trying to bind to my children energetically or on a soul level would not be possible, because I already did that for my children, connected them to God. The same energies that protect me are protecting them as well. So this was something that was extremely important for me to do early on in my spiritual journey. Teach your kids little rituals about how to cleanse themselves. Teach them about the things that you're learning about, so that the teachings do not stop with you. Do rituals with them in your home, just like you would go to church, and involve them. This is a lifestyle, this is a way of being. And try, as TIs, you shouldn't have a lot of people around you. You should not, because that is opening a door to chaos and problems. But when you get out of here, try to really be around people who are like-minded to you, who share the same beliefs, to avoid a lot of problems. People who are into dark magic and dark work, if I were you, I would try to avoid, because you just don't want to go through that kind of stuff with people. They have a tendency to do this to everybody around them. These are the types of folks they are. So you want to be around people who believe in being good people, people who are good-hearted and who don't just say it so that they can fool you or have fake demonstrations, but you can see the evidence in their life, because good people live a certain way. I just shuffled and pulled a spirit message oracle card. These are messages from spirit, and this one says, self-awareness is key. Take time today to go within and spend time with your soul. Go for a walk in nature and ground yourself. Meditate. Listen to your favorite music. Whatever you enjoy most, do that today. And it's the end of the day, but this is something that you can take into consideration to ease the pressure of what you're going through. Don't always be scared. Try to live in such a way where you can find joy and peace in your life. And let me tell you something, sometimes you can be busy, you can have goals that you need to hit, but you know what, you can find, you're not gonna miss your goals by taking an hour to go walk, or 30 minutes to exercise, or to meditate, or to pray, or to do something. Take your time with it. Take your time with it, with whatever you're doing, because whatever you're doing it's gonna need improvements either way. There is no rush, especially when God's taking care of you. And you never know the hour nor the minute where this is gonna be done for you. I'm telling you, it just happens for you. Things have incrementally gotten better for me. I couldn't tell you when it was gonna happen, it just did. I was just walking around and no more heavy gang stalking. I was just, it's like peace just came. Peace just came. Peace just comes. So you never know the hour nor the minute. Don't focus on that. Like I said, look past the circumstances that you're in and look to the finish line. And the finish line is always within view, I promise you. So this is the card, because this card has come up twice. This is the card that wants me to read it. So the crystal of the day is Danburite, and it's the crystal of seeking enlightenment, starting a spiritual journey. This is what it looks like. It kind of looks like a selenite. And Danburite is a karmic cleanser and it is extremely high vibration. Let me pause. I am a crystal girl. You can't see, but I'm wearing crystals. I got tons of crystals. I love crystals. I got more crystals that I can't wear. I want to own all the crystals, even though I know I should not do that. But crystals make a huge difference in my life. Let me tell you something. When I was being gang stalked and they were throwing energy at me, one time I had a rash. It made this finger swollen, and the rash was all the way here, and it stopped at the first crystal. And that rash took a while to go away. And when I say a while, like, first of all, let me say I didn't cleanse it. I was still learning how to clean. So I didn't cleanse it. It took, for me, I clean something, it's gone. But this one took like a couple days, a week, something like that. And I was like, what is this? This is nonsense. But I wasn't cleaning. This was back when I was learning to clean. And they were gang stalking me and they followed me somewhere. And one of the gang stalkers was sitting right next to me. So she started talking to me. And she had crystals on. And one thing I noticed in my city was that everybody started getting into crystals out of nowhere when I started doing crystal healing. So everybody was into crystals and they were wearing crystals, but they were wearing them on the wrong hand because the spiritual advisor told them, but it was the wrong hand that they were wearing it on. And so I was telling her like which hand, and we were talking about different crystals and stuff. And I said to her, so I'm thinking I'm talking to a crystal person who's a spiritual person. So I said, yeah, and look at this. And I showed her my finger. My finger was swollen, and all it looked like it wanted to be open sores, but it didn't get that bad. But the little sores, that the rash that had developed, and she looked at me and she was like, and she like ran out of there. She didn't go to the counter. She didn't do what she just got out of there. And I remember, nope, I'm lying. She did go to the counter. She did still go to the counter. She didn't spend very long there. It looked like she just asked them something and left. And I remember, and she barely wanted to look at me or say goodbye to me after. And I'm like, what do people think crystals are for? This is what you're wearing them for. They protect you. Things that are supposed to hit you, they stop at the crystal. So you don't know what's coming at you. Some things, they stop at this one, at this in the middle, down here, because it'll enter until it hits the thing that is blocking it. So you got to clean the crystals often. Your body will tell you, well, we don't need this one anymore. Get another one. It calls to you. So this is why I shuffle the crystals. The crystals usually correlate to whatever I was talking about in the message today, whatever crystal comes up. So if I talk about, I have one live and I'm talking about like, it's time to move on from gang stalking. And so the crystal for new beginnings came up. This one is the crystal for seeking enlightenment, and that is what a spiritual journey is, seeking enlightenment. And why would we not want to do that? Everybody now more than ever, you need enlightenment in the journey that you're going on. So this is what that's about. So let me read what Danburite is. Danburite can transport you to higher dimensions to connect you to your higher self, the angelic realm, and beyond. It draws enlightenment and spiritual light, instilling serenity and eternal wisdom. In meditation, Danburite takes you to a high state of consciousness and accesses inner guidance. And anybody here who meditates, understand that meditation is a practice. It takes time to perfect. It is not the easiest. Danburite fills the heart with unconditional universal love. It dissolves heartbreak, bringing inner peace and helping you live with love and acceptance. A karmic cleanser. This crystal is perfect for accompanying the dying on their journey beyond death. I could do a whole live on that. You are the dying. If you're being gang stalked, you're dying. Your body, who you are as a person is being nailed to the cross. You're dying, and you need assistance on your journey beyond that spiritual death to new life. This happens while you're alive. Everybody goes through this. You ever see when someone goes through something extremely traumatic and they come out of it a new person and nobody recognizes them? People can't even talk to them anymore. You try to approach this person that you know, same body, same face, same voice, same everything. And you're like, hey, you want to go to the club? And they're like, the way they answer you and everything, you don't bother debating because you know you're not talking to the same person. This is an enlightened person. This is a person who's gone through a spiritual awakening. This is a person who takes the awakening seriously. It means something to them. It's not the same person. If people were to meet me from my past right now, I'm not the same person. And they're gonna know it right away. It's not pretending, you're just literally not. This is the journey. This is the death and rebirth journey. This is what gang stalking is about. This is what it is for you, a death and rebirth. You came in one person. You gotta come out the other person. You cannot come out the same person. All of these things that need to be cleaned out, they're gonna be cleaned out during this process that you're going through. They're gonna be cleaned. You're gonna be a different person, a new person, the best version of yourself. This crystal honestly just sold me on it because I like what it's talking about. On the body, it deals with the circulatory, muscular, and motor systems, detoxification and allergies. And in the mind, it deals with emotional healing and detoxification. Danburite. It looks like selenite, so it does not shock me that this is a crystal of healing. It doesn't shock me that this is a crystal to help you on your spiritual journey. Gang stalking does not have to be forever because it's not intended to be forever. They just tell you that. Because while you're here, they're stealing from you energetically and they don't want that to end. They also put themselves in a situation where if you rise, they fall because they've only risen in any way because of you. Because they're gang stalking you, they are being paid. If they stop gang stalking you, they might have to give those houses back. They might have to give those cars back. Their lifestyle has to fall because you're not there anymore. So you have to look at it that way. And I'm sure there's, I don't know how it works with the path of the chief gang stalker and what it takes for them to build a business. But if they're successfully troubling you, disturbing you, and destroying your life, I would say that that chief gang stalker is on the path to building a gang stalking business where they're going to be paid for the demise of many people because it worked on you. And in the same way it worked on you, if it doesn't work on you and it's public and it's loud, then that business has to fall. The business has to fall because it's not like they're advertising in the yellow pages and on online. It's by word of mouth. Word of mouth spreading saying this person's a great gang stalker, they could do a great job, is the same word of mouth that says absolutely not. I don't know what's wrong with that person, but that person's going through a lot of bad luck. Their life is falling apart. I want nothing to do with it. Don't let it work. It doesn't have to work on you. It does not have to. You do not have to succumb to this. You do not have to stay here. You can do better. Thank you for everybody who stayed in. I'm going to put the crystal of the day. I don't do crystals. I try to be consistent about doing the crystal of the day. I don't always do it. I'm going to put the crystal of the day in the description of this video, in the description box. Please like the video. It helps the channel grow. Please subscribe. Check out the other videos to help you on your journey getting through this craziness. If you are considering getting up and making a move out of this place, out of this desperate situation, my channel can offer you tons and tons of insight, information into just walking out. Like just day by, you don't have to suffer as much as I did, or maybe you've already suffered enough and you're tired. This is what my channel is about, helping people walk out. Not about just educating you, it's about solutions to walk out, because you gotta go. Thank you very much. Have a good night. And just remember, God loves you. And thank you for the people that hung in there. Good night.